Welcome, one and all, to Pacific414 Pop Talk. As always, I'm your host, Mike. Tonight, Pacific414 Pop Talk will probably only go for an hour and a half, as I will be going over to the Star Wars Guys YouTube channel to talk about The Orville Season 1. So that'll begin at 9 o'clock, so I'm going to try to end this around 8:30. But anyways, tonight's topics of discussion are going to be the Miss Marvel reshoots and an article I saw from comicbook.com saying that anime may be affected by the live action adaptations, and also Scream taking a shot at toxic fandoms. Now, everybody's open for interpretation when it comes to toxic fandoms, but let's go ahead and delve into the first article, which will be about the Miss Marvel reshoots. This article comes from Bounding into Comics, and I'll pull it up on screen here in just a bit. And this article was released on Monday. I'm sorry, not Monday. On Sunday, the 16th. And it's talking about Ms. Marvel in trouble, new casting, and significant reshoots reported months after filming wrapped. Which, reshoots happen all the time in Hollywood. Even up to TV shows or a movie's release date. So this article is by Michael Austin. And it says, could the MCU's next big miniseries be in trouble? Multiple reports indicate Marvel Studios' Ms. Marvel will be undergoing extensive reshoots despite having wrapped filming back in May of 2021. According to the Direct, the reshoots will be significant and may suggest there are troubles with the project. Lizzie Hill of Cosmic Circus confirmed the report, saying the reshoots were definitely substantial. The series, said to premiere sometime in summer 2022, is set to debut the Kamala Khan Ms. Marvel character from Marvel Comics. Goes on to say, controversy has followed the show for some time now. Fan uproar over the series began after a report from movie insider Daniel Reichman indicated Khan's powers would undergo a dramatic overhaul for her cinematic debut. Instead of her traditional Mr. Fantastic-esque stretching powers, the Marvel Cinematic Universe Ms. Marvel would have the ability to create constructs from much like DC's Green Lantern character. While many fans are hopeful news of significant reshoots could indicate reversing the decision, no news or even rumors regarding the nature of the reshoots have been released as of yet. On Monday, comicbook.com reported that the reshoots reportedly aren't as bad as we thought. However, more recent news from Friday seems to fly in the face of that notion. We got this covered. I have my thoughts on we got this covered. Oh boy, really? Of all sources? But anyway, we got this covered. Reported that a new Pakistani actor, and forgive me if I mispronounce this name, but I'm going to try it here. Bawish Hayat had been added to the series during reshoots. Presumably, any reshoots involving new casting changes are more than likely quite extensive in nature. Goes on to say, having first debuted in the comics in 2014, Khan has struggled to find an audience with multiple series being canceled and rebooted. The daughter of a Pakistani immigrants living in New Jersey, Khan is often praised as being one of the being one of the first prominent Muslim superheroes. In 2013, the founder of And again, I'm probably going to butcher this name, and I do apologize. Muslima Media, which once told the controversial Qatari-funded outlet Al Jazeera that Kamala normalizes this idea of the American experience as Muslim, and that a lot of us are bumping up against the idea that a lot of America is white. Well, that isn't what America is. We're not all white and Christian. According to Disney, the new Ms. Marvel series will introduce Khan to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a great student and avid gamer, voracious fanfiction scribe with a special affinity for superheroes, particularly Captain Marvel. But Kamala struggles to fit in at home and at school. That is, until she gets superpowers like the heroes she's always looked up to. Life is easier with superpowers, right? The official Disney Plus description of the show reads, get down to it. Whether or not this new character fits well within the Marvel Cinematic Universe remains to be seen. If the show's reshoots are indeed as extensive as multiple reports indicate, it may be the case that the higher ups at Disney are worried Miss Marvel hasn't quite fit in like they hoped she would. Well, if the character herself in the comics has had multiple reboots because the character just isn't grabbing people for one reason or another, then what makes them think that the character is going to even translate to the MCU? If people aren't going to be reading the comics that this character comes from, they're not going to give a crap about the character in live action, regardless of what ethnicity the character is. If you don't write a good, compelling character, people aren't going to give a crap. Just my take on it. I mean, not every comic book character needs a live action version of themselves. Only certain ones seem to work. Everyone else seems to fall flat when they're translated into live action. Sometimes you just have to leave that comic book character on the pages of a comic book. I'm not saying we shouldn't have comic book characters of, different backgrounds. We should. But there are some characters, and especially since Miss Marvel is a recent iteration of Miss Marvel, it's not the original. But since they've been trying this since 2014 and it still hasn't worked, sometimes you have to go back to the drawing board until you can find something that works. Just my opinion. And I know what they say about opinions. Yes, we all got them. I mean, you can only go to the well so many times. You can only strike lightning in the bottle so many times before you run into one dud after another. And that's what it seems that both Marvel and DC are doing right now. Trying to take characters and put them into live action, and they're just not working because people aren't interested. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the next article. And the next article I do want to talk about is going to be AMC Networks. And let's see. Got it here. Let's have it pop up on the screen so both you and I can read it at the same time. And I will also put the links to the articles that I have read in tonight's episode into the chat. This way, anybody who wants to read it for themselves can go ahead and do so. So here is the first link to the Miss Marvel article. And I will also post a link to this next one I am about to read, which you see on your screen. And here you go. All right. So, again, this article comes from Bounding into Comics. And this article was actually released on the 9th. I didn't catch it until several days after. So that's why I'm talking about it now instead of having talked about it last week or in the abbreviated version of the Pacific414 Pop Talk that I have started to post on Sunday. And that's going to be a continuing thing where the abbreviated versions of Pop Talk come out every Sunday. I'm going to try to post them at 11 o'clock Eastern every morning. And I'm going to do my best to stick with that. If I can't, I will let you all know in Discord and on social media what time it'll be posted. But this article says AMC Networks enters the anime game, completes purchase of distributor Sentai Filmworks and streaming service High Dive. And this article was by Spencer Bacali. And it says, with their recent purchase of Sentai, the Houston-based anime distributor, whose holdings include well-known anime distributor Sentai Filmworks and the streaming service High Dive, AMC Networks has officially become the latest Western entertainment entity to make a play at the rapidly growing market for anime fans. That's because anime is hot right now. And the reason why anime is hot right now is because what we've been getting from the likes of Paramount, Universal, Disney, and several others isn't cutting it. Announced on January 5th, the acquisition will see Sentai's licensed anime offerings such as Akame ga, and I do apologize for butchering any of these names. Kills, Legend of the Galactic Heroes, which I actually have seen Legend of the Galactic Heroes, and I absolutely love it. And Redo of Healer join AMC's ever-growing library of niche content. The purchase will also put Sentai's aptly named localization and recording studio, Sentai Studios, under AMC's direction, as well as all member interest of Cool Japan Fund Inc., a Japanese investment fund who has so far invested roughly $33 million in the anime distributor. Okay, further, High Dive will now join AMC's lineup of niche content streaming channels, which currently include the horror-centric Shudder and the indie-oriented Sundance Now. Alongside the announcement of Sentai's purchase, AMC also confirmed that by 2025, they expect to reach between 20 million to 25 million paid subscribers across its various services. It also goes on to say Sentai's executive management team, currently consisting of Griffin Vance, Paul Clinkscales, and founder Jeff Ledford, are expected to continue on in senior roles following the full transition of the company's assets from their possession to AMC's. In a statement, Ledford asserted, "We are thrilled by AMC's network's acquisition and excited to be a part of their growth strategy." Goes on to say, this acquisition will not change Sentai's mission to deliver the most exciting anime content to audiences around the world. It will expand it greatly and will give our content businesses more distribution, more partnerships, more skill, and more reach, he added. I could not be more pleased. Further, AMC Network's interim CEO, Matt Blank, said of the purchase, with a seasoned team, strong content, and direct to consumer offerings for fans around the world, Sentai is a key global player in anime. This acquisition builds on AMC Network's already strong IP and franchises, furthers our targeted streaming strategy of super serving passionate audiences with content depth, curation, and community. He concluded, with the additional with the addition of Sentai, we see an even greater opportunity to build on AMC Network's position as the global leader in targeted streaming as we continue to grow a sustainable and long-term profitable streaming business that will be transformational for our company. As noted above, AMC's buyout is but the latest move made by a major entertainment company to enter the burgeoning Western anime market. Last year, Crunchyroll was acquired from AT&T by Sony's Funimation, consolidating two of the biggest American anime streaming services under a singular banner. Taking a different path, both Netflix and Disney have also begun to produce their own exclusive anime series, resulting in such experimental releases as Ultraman and Star Wars Visions, respectively. And what do you think of AMC Network's purchase of Sentai? Well, what do you guys think? Do you think this is a good move by AMC? Do you think we already have enough streaming services out there? Which, quite frankly, we do have far too many streaming services out there that if you have to pay for another streaming services, are you willing to do it? I don't know how many people are. I mean, our money can only go so far before we say enough is enough. I mean, I already feel that way. Between everything else that's out there and everything else that we have to take care of in our daily everyday lives, I already feel like there's already too many out there, and it's hard for any one person to keep up with it. It's not like in the old days where you were able to channel surf and find certain programming on certain channels. You could find anime as early back in the 1980s when they brought Go Line over here and changed it to Voltron. Of course, at the time, I didn't realize at 6 years old I was watching anime. All I saw was this cool cartoon with robots that formed an even bigger robot. And then, of course, you had Transformers. I mean, yes, Transformers was made out here in the West, but the toys themselves, they came from Takara in Japan. So you had Takara Japan and also Bandai and a few others going under one banner of Transformers. And my point of saying this is it's not the first time that an American company has looked to Japan to try to bring in particular IPs over to the West. I mean, 30 years ago, Power Rangers. Need I say more? Yes, I know Power Rangers isn't an anime, but still, the whole idea of Power Rangers Super Sentai came from Japan. All right, so I do have another article that isn't necessarily related to this one, but it still fits in the same category. So let me pull it up here and then I will post it in the link for everyone else to read along, or you can read it at your own leisure. So this comes from Comic Book Resources, and let me just go ahead and post it into the chat here so anybody can read this article. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. It says, are live action adaptations killing the anime industry? Okay, I know I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to go ahead and give you my comment before I read this article. And I'm going to say, no, live action adaptations aren't killing the anime industry. those live action adaptations are doing it themselves. You don't believe me? Look at Cowboy Bebop. Perfect example. Netflix's live action adaptation was canceled after one season. And from what little bit I've seen, it's not hard to see why. So it says, are live action adaptations killing the anime industry? With more anime adaptations announced than ever before and shows like Cowboy Bebop flopping, these adaptations might be giving anime a bad name. No, anime has a good name. It's these companies that are adapting these anime shows to live action, and they're screwing it up. They don't know what they're doing with it. Hello, Punk Waddle. Good to see you, brother. Always nice to see you here. Hope you're doing well today. But anyways, the article goes on to say, for as far back as most can remember, audiences have been watching Hollywood remakes of Japanese films, from Star Wars to Disney Pixar movies. The influence of Japanese culture on Western media spans back for decades and permeates the most basic Western franchises. The Seven Samurai, released in Japan in 1954, has remained highly influential in cultures across the globe. It is listed as a major inspiration for not only the cowboy classic The Magnificent Seven, released in the US in 1960, but also the original Star Wars trilogy, along with Rogue One and the Clone Wars animated series, with a direct episode tribute honoring the original film. Kon Satoshi's 2006 Paprika is often credited for much of the material that appears in Christopher Nolan's 2010 Inception, from concepts to side-by-side shot comparisons. Glad to know. And let me go ahead and read your comment. No one is destroying the anime, just people are getting fed up with live action adaptations that are not coming close to what people loved about the anime in the first place. Which goes back to another point. I have already talked about the Miss Marvel reshoots. And in the article, it mentions how the Miss Marvel reboot started in 2014 and it has had multiple reboots since it started. And there are just certain things that don't translate well from the pages of a comic book to live action. Same goes with anime. Certain things are better left as an anime. Some things are just better off left in animated form, because there are certain things you can do with an animated cartoon that you can't do in live action. And yes, live action adaptations are not coming close. They are limited. And they will continue to be limited because these creators that are taking this animated property and trying to make it into live action, I don't think they fully understand the implications. They don't truly understand and grasp the fact that you can't take everything that you see in the anime and put it in the live world. It just doesn't work. Okay, so the article continues to go on by saying live action adaptations could begin to undermine the anime industry by placing live action and animated in direct conflict with each other over the same source material, and it's unknown who would come out on top. Here's the breakdown on whether live action adaptations are a threat to the anime industry and why. It says loss of connection with the source material. Yes. Cowboy Bebop, Ghost in the Shell. Okay. I have actually watched Cowboy Bebop, the anime, and I have watched Ghost in the Shell. There is no way in my mind that you could successfully adapt those to live action, and it's been proven. I mean, Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson, that was a flop because it just didn't translate so well. But anyways, it goes on to say, while movies that took inspiration from Japanese works such as The Seven Samurai and Paprika are able to convey similar themes or stories, many straight adaptations have been unable to recreate the feel of the original. A glaring example of this is the recent Netflix Cowboy Bebop adaptation, which managed to include brief homages to the series, but largely failed to impress audiences. When the anime arrived in 1998, the original story of Spike Spiegel was a mature one of loss and grief with a sharp shock of an ending. The surprise factor might have been lost in the live action, but the same themes incorporated into the story could have felt genuine. However, it was not enough to slap the same basic premise and character names onto a story about spaceships without understanding why audience first connected with the show. Goes on to say Hollywood blockbuster materials such as Ghost in the Shell can also suffer from loss of connection, and this can be due to the simple desire to make that Hollywood blockbuster. The original anime was raw in how it delivered its message of autonomy, and a Hollywood unwillingness to go that far could not possibly deliver a faithful adaptation, nor could live action rating standards match the wiggle room in animation. The irony, the irony is that a white woman taking the role of an Asian woman in a Hollywood film when the film featured autonomy so explicitly seemed lost to the studio as well. Perhaps a better show of how disconnected from their source material the studio truly was. Again, it goes back to Hollywood not completely understanding the source material. In comparison to Cowboy Bebop and Ghost in the Shell, the live action Full Metal Alchemist holds a clearer idea of. Oops, didn't mean to click that again. All right, so the live action Full Metal Alchemist holds a clear idea of why fans love the series. The relationships between the characters, particularly between Edward and Alphonse Elric, I said that wrong. I know I did, are the selling points and emphasized at every possible turn. Full Metal Alchemist is simply too long of a series to attempt to switch into a film adaptation. Though clearly hitting closer to the mark, events are far too compressed for the movie to be considered successful. Could the studio not predict this problem? If not, that in itself shows an actual loss of connection from the source material that is just as egregious. Or was it simply more important to get the first Full Metal Alchemist film out there? The same question is posed when regarding the Attack on Titan live action adaptation. Which has been criticized from all angles for not caring to even attempt to get the nationalities of the characters right. A movie about a man eating giants was to be made. The first studio to make it didn't care much for the details. That's the thing, you have to care for the source material. And Punkwaddle goes on to say good points, but that has nothing to do with the anime itself, since anime and manga are outperforming Western IPs in significant ways. Exactly. Just look at the numbers. Go to your local Barnes and Noble. You see more anime on the shelves than you see American comic books. And the article goes on to continue by saying, why take so long to adapt such a beloved franchise as Full Metal Alchemist? The obvious answer is that CGI was not up to speed with what the original animation was able to achieve. And as CGI has improved over the past few years, so have we seen Death Note, 2017, Full Metal Alchemist, Ghost in the Shell, and recently announced One Piece to get live action treatment. As CGI continues to get cheaper and higher quality, I don't know, that one clip I saw of Cowboy Bebop, that CGI didn't look very high quality. It stands to reason more series will join the ranks. However, if a successful anime has already been made, why is there the need for live action adaptation? Animation can provide more varieties of style, and importantly, these anime already exist. Cowboy Bebop is over 20 or is 20, so a remake at that age makes sense. But Attack on Titan hadn't aired its second season when the live action came out. The most obvious conclusion is that with CGI becoming cheaper, live action adaptations are an easy way to make money, especially when the fans are already certainly out there. It's not a bad thing for a studio to want to be profitable, of course, but it's not a long term solution as demonstrated through adaptations that don't require large advancements in CGI technology. Goes on to say the pace at which live action adaptations have picked up suggests one other thing, and it's that a live action adaptation is now being used as a mark of excellence. This is in the same way many people won't be interested in a book until it's being made into a movie. I don't know about that. And I'm going to pose this question to all of you right now. Would you rather read a book before you read the TV show or movie it's based on? I'd rather read the book. Now, I will admit, there have been cases where I've actually watched the film adaptation or the miniseries adaptation first and then gone back and read the book. And 9 times out of 10, I end up liking the book better. All right, so let me pick up where I left off. A live action remake signifies relevance and quality, and while that can be the case at times, many quality works get passed over in the same way many of the greatest books in existence could never be made into a movie. An anime does not have to prove itself by earning a live action remake, and yet an anime without a remake may be more unpopular due to a simple fact of exposure. This could even cause some titles to miss out on things such as renewed seasons. And let me see what you guys are saying in the chat before I continue on. Punkwaddle is saying the flops of the live action, plus people hearing all the complaints from people who like the original and manga versions, pushes the originals to the forefront for anyone who's interested. Very true, Punkwaddle. Very true. And DJ Ronnie G says it depends, but audiobooks have been good to me. Yeah, and that's another thing. That's a very good point that you bring up, DJ, is that some people would prefer to listen to an audiobook. Maybe you don't have time to read chapter upon chapter, page upon page of a book, but an audiobook works for you. You know, some people listen to audiobooks in their car when they're on a long trip, on a flight when they're on a long trip, or if they take the train on a long trip. And DJ Ronnie G goes on to say, in general, the book always hashes out the details. Yep. Yep, you get more details by reading the book. Okay, so the article goes on to say, are live action adaptations harming the anime industry? Ultimately, no. Yeah, you know what? They could have saved themselves time by, putting the headline saying is a live action version of an anime killing anime, and then you click on it and say no, but I know they have to write out a full article. Nothing is that simple. There's certainly something wrong in the industry that will be so strapped for content that both an anime and live action version of a manga will be made within a year. However, just as the Seven Samurai and Paprika could inspire without turning out straight copies, the same is possible between animation and live action. The most valuable thing that can be created right now, as ever, are stories to keep audiences engaged and studios employed, bringing those stories to life. Yes, stories with compelling characters, compelling plot lines, gives a reason to care about those characters. It's something I've been saying for a while now, and I've even been saying it more and more on Pop Talk. Give us new stories. You know, I can't speak for anyone watching this right now, anybody watching this in the replay, anybody who's currently in the chat. But I'm tired of retread after retread after retread. I want a new story. And don't tell me all the stories have been told. There's stories out there that haven't been told yet. You just have to find the right people who are willing to tell the stories. And of course, you have to have studios who aren't so eager to butt in the way. Just my opinion, but that is how I look at it. And too many studios are butting in the way. All right. So this next article comes from Bounding in the Comics. And for anybody out there who's going, oh my God, he's taking an article from Bounding in the Comics. No, I'm just looking for articles that catch my eye that I want to talk about during Pop Talk, and I don't care where they come from. So this is from Bounding in the Comics. It was released on January 11th, and it was by J.B. Augustine, and it says Leslie Grace reveals first look at her Batgirl costume for the upcoming HBO Max film. And there we see Yvonne Craig as Batgirl in the 1966 Batman series. And goes on to say, I want to make sure that I don't miss anything somewhat important. But it says the first image of senior actress Leslie Grace in costume as Batgirl for the HBO Max solo film that is the debut of Barbara Gordon, and her dual identity in the DCEU was shared to social media by the actress. And we talked about this a little bit on Pacific414 and Friends have a chat this Sunday, but I figured I could still talk about it here on Pop Talk since I didn't talk about it last week. Anyways, the article goes on to say this image showing Grace in the full leather suit and cowl on a rooftop that looks like your standard gothic Gotham was shared by the In the Heights star on Instagram, accompanied by a sizzling quote from Back Row Year One by Chuck Dixon and Scott Beatty. I use their expectations against them. That will be their weakness, not mine. Let them all underestimate me, Grace wrote. And when their guard is down and their pride is rising, let me kick their butts. Goes on to say the costume's purple and yellow color scheme has been the norm for decades and is very similar to Yvonne Craig's look in the 1966 Batman TV series that served as the inspiration for a number of Batgirl outfits. And here is the image right here. I'll admit, I'm not too crazy about it. And it goes on to say Grace also has the biker chick look in the photo associated with Jason Todd's Red Hood Get Up in comics and HBO Max's Titans, as well as Fox's X-Men suits from 2000 to 2014. It's also reminiscent of Batgirl's New 52 outfit. This leaves the impression the wardrobe department is going for something real world and practical in the vein of the Batman's marching orders. Batgirl's style choices here are going to draw critics, just as the movie is. Many are already unhappy about the rumor that it's being treated like Batman Beyond, where Bruce Wayne, in this case Michael Keaton, is passing along his mantle to Barbara. Goes on to say she's not established in the DCU, so this movie runs the risk of not feeling earned, and plurality of the fan base would rather have a straight up live action Batman Beyond instead of what we're getting from DC films under Walter Hamada. Of course, we'd like a live action Batman Beyond. And Punk Waddle goes on to say, hey, DJ, Ronnie G, audiobooks can even be more engaging when they have a good reader. Exactly. Which is why I'd never be hired for an audiobook. You guys already know that in the first few minutes. Okay, it goes on to say, other recent leaks show Batgirl will have background references to Black Canary and the dynamic duo that indicate Tim Burton's Dark Knight found a Robin in this film's place in the same continuity as Bird of Prey. And it says directed by the Bad Boys for Life duo of Adil El Aribi and Billa Fala. I'm probably mispronouncing those names. Batgirl should be on HBO Max by Christmas. Well, I'd rather look forward to that than Santa Inc. Everything I've heard about Santa Inc. makes me not want to watch it. But let me ask you all, what do you think? Do you like the look of this costume? Do you not like the look of this costume? Do you not care about Batgirl getting her own HBO Max series? Let me know. Personally, at this point, I don't care. Until I see more, I don't really care. I need to see more. I need to see at least a teaser trailer to try to persuade me to want to watch the show. Seeing shots of, an actor, actress on set in costume isn't going to entice me to want to watch it. I want to see things in motion. That's just my opinion. And again, you all can have your own opinion, and that is perfectly fine. I'm going ahead and I am putting this article into the comments. So there we go. There you are. And I am also just double checking to make sure that there aren't any bots popping up. But I don't see any right now. But with the way it's been lately, certainly some can show up, and they have before. So, other article I thought I would talk about. Copy the link. And let's go ahead and talk about this. Another article from Bounding into Comics. And this article is talking about Tim Allen returning to the role of Scott Calvin in new Disney Plus series, The Santa Claus. Let me guess. Let me take a guess here. He's going to show up and he's got to find someone to be the new Santa Claus. Is that pretty much what it is? Anyways, the article was released on the 14th. It's by John F. Trent, and it says actor Tim Allen will return to the role of Scott Calvin in a brand new Disney Plus series with the working title of The Santa Claus. Allen previously played Scott Calvin in The Santa Claus and its two sequels, The Santa Claus 2 and The Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause. It goes on to say, according to a press release from Disney, the Disney Plus series will see Calvin about to celebrate his 65th birthday, and he realizes that he can't be Santa forever. Okay, well, that wasn't too hard to figure out. He's starting to lose a step in his Santa Claus duties. And more importantly, he's got a family who could benefit from a life in the normal world, especially his two kids who have grown up at the pool. Goes on to say, with a lot of elves, children, and family to please, Scott sets out to find a suitable replacement Santa while preparing his family for a new adventure and a life south of the pole. The press release states, goes on to say, not only will Allen be reprising his role as Scott Calvin in Santa Claus, but he will also be executive producing the series. He's joined on the production by Jack Burdett, who also serves as an executive producer and showrunner. Burdett previously worked with Allen on The Last Man Standing. He's also produced Frasier, 30 Rock, The New Adventures of Old Christine, and is a longtime producer on Modern Family. Goes on to say, other executive producers include Last Man Standing's Kevin Hench, Richard Baker, and Rick Messina, who previously produced Last Man Standing, the original The Santa Claus film, as well as The Drew Carey Show. Goes on to say, Allen had been a staple at Disney and its subsidiaries. He was the leading man on the highly popular sitcom Home Improvement. Sorry, couldn't help it. Oh, yeah, we need to give him more power. Where he played Tim the Toolman Taylor. He would go on to voice Buzz Lightyear in Pixar's widely popular Toy Story franchise. He gave voice to the character in Toy Story, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, and Toy Story 4. He also voiced Buzz in a number of short films featuring the character, including Hawaiian Vacation, Small Fry, and Partysaurus Rex. Thank you, GMC. Thank you, brother. And yes, Tim Allen is pretty awesome. And let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Indeed, Punk Waddle, a friend of mine couldn't finish Starship Troopers. Rico sounded like a young softy as opposed to a grunt. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. He kind of sounded like me, and I can say that. All right, so GMC, what's up? Good to see you, brother. Goes on to say, Tim Allen is pretty awesome. Yes, he is. Then he goes on to say, The Santa Claus, what an original title. I know Hollywood's coming out of there with a bang, right? Yeah, great ideas, great titles. I find the original to be a classic, but the sequels aren't quite as good. Yeah, very true. I did like the original. The one with Martin Short, Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause, I wasn't too fond of. Liked it, shared. Thank you. Guado says, agreed. The original had the fresh take. Yes, it did. Back when Hollywood could actually give you a fresh take. Goes on to say, and thanks, GMC. Yes, thank you. All right, so article then goes on to say Allen also starred in Disney's Jungle to Jungle and their remake of The Shaggy Dog in 2006. He also narrated to the 2012 Disney nature documentary Chimpanzee and starred in the Touchstone films Galaxy Quest and Wild Hog. Oh yes, never give up, never surrender. But there's one thing I know you guys won't say, and it's about me. I'm taking a jab about me. Is Mike, you must save us. All right, okay. I'm ready. I'm ready for the comments. I'm ready. But if you don't know by now, you should know that I am willing to get silly. I am willing to poke fun at myself on this channel. Okay, it says Disney's Hyperion Publishing even published his first book, Don't Stand Too Close to a Naked Man. They went on to publish his second book, I'm Not Really Here, as well. Goes on to say production on the Santa Claus is set to begin in Los Angeles in March. It is being produced by Disney's 20th television label, the former 20th Century Fox. What do you make of Disney Plus bringing Tim Allen back into the fold and creating a sequel series to The Santa Claus? I like that they're bringing Tim Allen back. I just don't know that this series is even needed. Another example of Hollywood giving us something we certainly didn't ask for, and more than likely isn't needed. Just my opinion. Just my opinion, folks. All right. So I will go ahead and post this article in the chat as well. Copy. And it is being pasted. And it is being posted. There you are. Read it at your own leisure. So let's continue on here. You know what? You know what I do want to talk about? And it's something that happened yesterday. And it is something I definitely want to talk about. And I don't want to forget to talk about it before I end the show at 8:30. And let me just get to the link real quick. And if anyone's part of my Discord, you may have seen that I posted it in the appropriate Discord form yesterday, but let's go ahead and talk about the big news from yesterday, shall we? All right. I am posting it and putting it on screen, and then I will post it in the chat. So here we go. Because I know I'm not the only one that wants to talk about this. It's something that needs to be talked about. And I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on it. So, yeah, I did. Sorry about that. Try this again. All right. There we go. This should be the right one. Blame the guy who's operating the stream. All right. Because I know we all want to talk about it. And it is big news. And with everything that's been going on with Activision Blizzard, is it the smart move for Microsoft? Microsoft to buy Activision and $68.7 billion. That's billion, all cash deal. This was posted yesterday. It's by Steve Kovich. It said Microsoft will buy video game giant Activision Blizzard in a $68.7 billion all cash deal. Activision makes popular game franchises such as Call of Duty. Goes on to say Activision has been mired in controversy in recent months due to allegations of sexual harassment and misconduct among company executives. And then it goes on to say Microsoft announced Tuesday it will buy video game giant Activision Blizzard in a $68.7 billion all-cash deal. The price means Microsoft will pay $95 per share for Activision. Activision stock ended the day up more than 25% closing at $82.31 per share on Tuesday. Microsoft shares closed down more than 2%. This would be Microsoft's largest acquisition to date, followed by its purchase of LinkedIn in 2016 for $26.2 billion. Activision, which is known for popular games such as Call of Duty and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, has been mired in controversy for the last several months after reports of sexual misconduct and harassment among company's executives. On Monday, Activision said it fired dozens of executives following an investigation. Under the deal, Activision CEO Bobby Kotick, who has faced calls of resign over the culture problems within his company, will remain CEO during the transition. Microsoft said Activision as a company will report to Microsoft's Xbox boss, Phil Spencer, after the deal closes, implying Kotick could depart after the transition. The Wall Street Journal reported Tuesday afternoon Kotick is expected to step down after the deal closes. Goes on to say Microsoft said it expects to close the deal in its fiscal 2023. However, U.S. regulators have signaled they will be far more aggressive in evaluating large acquisitions, especially in the tech industry, so there's a chance the deal dies under government review. Goes on to say Microsoft has gotten more aggressive with gaming over the past several years. It bought Minecraft maker Mojang for $2.5 billion in 2014. And last year, Microsoft completed a $7.5 billion acquisition of game maker Bethesda. The deal also plays into a long-term vision for Microsoft as it competes with Meta, formerly Facebook, to build technologies to create a virtual world called the metaverse. In fact, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella was the first big tech CEO to publicly acknowledge the value of the metaverse months before Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg. Today, virtual worlds are dominated by gaming, but the hope is they expand to cater to other demographics and replace a lot of traditional social networking activity online. When we think about our vision for what a metaverse can be, we believe there won't be a single centralized metaverse, Nadella said on a call Tuesday morning where he discussed the deal. That means Nadella sees an opportunity for many software makers to create many different virtual worlds in the future instead of one dominant company controlling most of the activity. Still, Microsoft does not yet have an affordable consumer grade virtual reality headset that would be necessary to fulfill the vision of the metaverse. Microsoft does sell an augmented reality set called HoloLens, but that device paints digital items on top of the real world. It's not a fully immersive experience and is mostly used for business applications. In an interview with CNBC's Becky Quick on Squawk on the Street, Kotick said the deal came through after he realized Microsoft had the technology to push Activision forward in the burgeoning competition between tech companies to build the metaverse. In the same interview, Spencer said talks about an acquisition began between the two companies last year. That said, both companies focused on the present in announcing the deal with a highlight on Activision's strength in mobile gaming. For example, Activision owns Candy Crush, one of the most popular and lucrative mobile games around. Activision bought Candy Crush publisher King for $5.9 billion in 2016. They also highlighted the opportunity to cross-promote popular gaming franchises from both companies, like Microsoft's Halo and Activision's World of Warcraft. The last 2 years in particular have shown how critical games are to helping people maintain a sense of community and belonging, even when they are apart, Nadella said in a conference call Tuesday morning following the announcement of the deal. he added that 3 billion people around the world play video games, a hit at the total market he sees Microsoft moving into. So now here's another question I have for all of you. Watching this live, watching this after the fact, what do you think about this deal? Do you think this is a smart deal by Microsoft? Do you think this is a stupid deal by Microsoft? Do you think that Microsoft is just trying to gain more and more stake in the gaming industry to where they are the be all end all in the gaming industry? Do you think they're doing this so that they can get a foothold against Sony? What do you think? I think they're doing this to be the number one gaming company around, to be the top dog, to possibly be the only dog in town. They're trying to buy their way to the top by doing what companies like Disney have done: buy out other companies and absorb their IPs. That's what I think they're doing. It has nothing to do with the sexual harassment issues that Activision Blizzard has been facing. It has everything to do with trying to be the top company in the industry, the number one company in the industry, in my opinion. You might have a different opinion. I would love to see it here during the live stream. I would love for you to mention it on social media. But that's what I think they're doing. Microsoft is trying to be like Disney and buy up every IP they can, so that there's only one source you can go to for that IP, and that's Microsoft. Whether you're playing it on Xbox, playing it on PC, that's where you go. You can't play it on a PlayStation. You can't play it on a Switch. You can't play it on anything else but a Microsoft branded tablet, phone, computer. I mean, yeah, Windows comes with everything. So as far as PCs are concerned, as far as laptops are concerned. So that's what I think they're trying to do. Again, you might feel differently, and if you do, I'd love to see your comments in the comment section. Tell me I'm wrong. That's fine. But I want your opinion. So I really don't think this is a great deal. I think this is going to end up hurting the industry if it goes through. But again, it still has hurdles to go through. But, if Disney has been able to buy one studio after another, who's to say that Microsoft won't be allowed to absorb Activision Blizzard? Just my opinion. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to another article. And there we go. I will post it to you all first, and then I will bring it up on screen. All right. So this came out a few days ago, and anyone who watches any YouTubers from across the pond, you know how a lot of them have mentioned how BBC charges them a license fee in order to watch the programming. Well, it says UK government confirms plans to freeze BBC license fee. This is coming from the Hollywood Reporter. And it says Boris Johnson has been accused of using the latest attack on the public service broadcaster, which would have been dramatic, which would have a dramatic impact on its output to shore up right-wing support amid his slumping popularity. Goes on to say, and this article was posted by Alex Reitman, and it was posted on Monday the 17th. It says, British Culture Secretary Nadine Dorries has confirmed plans first reported over the weekend to freeze the BBC license fee. The flat fee most UK households must pay to use the public service broadcaster for 2 years. In a statement made on Monday in Parliament in London, she stopped short of saying the fee would be scrapped altogether, which had been suggested in the original report, claiming a review into the BBC's license fee funding model would begin soon. Let me get a drink of water and I will continue. Okay, let's continue. The BBC and the license fee have become something of a political battleground in recent years, with the corporation's output regularly attacked by members of the conservative government for what they claim is a left wing bias, a factor disputed by many on the left, who, among many examples, point to the fact the current Director General Tim Davie once stood as a conservative counselor. It also goes on to say, but the argument rose to heightened levels over the weekend when Dorries tweeted a Daily Mail article about the plans, adding that the license fee announcement will be the last. The days of the elderly being threatened with prison sentences are over. Time now to discuss and debate new ways of funding, supporting, and selling great British content. Article goes on to say the timing of the announcement has been picked up upon across the media. Prime Minister Boris Johnson is currently facing the biggest test of his leadership, with ever-growing stories of illegal parties taking place during lockdown at his residence at number 10 Downing Street, pushing his approval ratings to record lows. Many conservative MPs have joined the chorus of politicians calling on him to resign. And this latest attack on the BBC, led by Johnson supporter Dorries, is seen as a way of shoring up vital support at his time of need, while also diverting headlines away from his own scandals. In retaliation, many high profile figures from the UK screen sector, including Hugh Grant, Veep creator Armando Iannucci, I'm probably saying that wrong, and Succession writer Lucy Preble have rallied behind the BBC, tweeting their support for the broadcaster and aiming to highlight the value for money that the license fee current set at $159.50 or $218 US annually brings in terms of the breadth of output across TV and radio. The BBC is currently in the midst of negotiating the next 5 years of the license fee and has made it clear, with skyrocketing production costs and dramatic increased spend of streamers in the UK, anything other than a rise in line with inflation would result in major cuts to its output and staff levels. So, what do you all think? Do you think they should just abolish the license fee altogether for our friends across the pond? Give them a break in their wallet, or do you think they should continue with it? As someone looking on the outside, I think it's time for them to abolish it. Get rid of it. And Punkwaddle responding to the last article. As a matter of fact, I will go ahead and read it here. It says, I think Microsoft is used to being a major player in whatever they do. So the fact that you can use the Xbox Game Pass on your Microsoft Run computer and don't even need an Xbox speaks a lot. Yes, it does. It does. You make a very good point there, Punkwaddle. You don't necessarily need to buy the latest and greatest console when, as you said, Punkwaddle, and I have used it before, Game Pass is available. And to be honest, there are some people who like Game Pass, some people who don't like Game Pass. I like Game Pass because it allows me to try out a game before I buy it, try out multiple games before I buy them. For $10 a month, I can try out multiple games and decide, what, this game's not worth actually purchasing the full content. So, I've saved myself some money that way by signing up for this $10 plan. That's how I look at it. Because, like I said, I've done it. And, I know some people who don't like it. But, to each their own. So let's go ahead and continue. I want to save that one for last, or at least close to last. Let's go ahead and read this article from Yahoo, and let me go ahead and bring it up here. It's one I saw the other day, so I made sure to put it in my favorites. And it goes on to say Cobra Kai fans should be nervous over what the co-creator just revealed about season 5. Okay, let's get that out of the way. It's by Kayla Keegan. And it says Hearst Magazine and Yahoo, blah, blah, blah. But we don't need to really read that. It says Cobra Kai season 4 has ended, and now fans are pretty worried that Daniel and Johnny might not be the best around after all. After a deflating loss to Cobra Kai at the All Valley tournament, it looks like the reign of Miyagi-Do has come to an end, and with it, the rise of Terry Silver has just begun. Perhaps even more surprising, it doesn't look like Kreese will be along for the ride, but is it really over for Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang Alliance? Or will new unexpected fellowships form and fight back? Well, if you've already watched season 4 of Cobra Kai, you know the answer to that from what we were teased. While we patiently wait for the next chapter of the Karate Kid based Netflix series to arrive, we are sharing what we know so far about season 5. When is the Cobra Kai season 5 release date on Netflix? Netflix has not yet announced a set release date for Cobra Kai season 5. That said, we can tell you that it's for sure happening. I'm sorry about screwing that up. Since co-creator John Hurwitz posted on December 19th that filming for season 5 had already finished. Based on the past 2 season premieres, we're predicting that Cobra Kai season 5 will be available on Netflix in either late December or early January. So late December 2022, early January 2023. Stay tuned, as we're sure the streaming giant will announce a date in weeks to come. It goes on to say who will be in the Cobra Kai season 5 cast. The events of Cobra Kai season 4 tell us that we can expect the following cast. And Ralph Macchio, William Zabka, Courtney. Oh gosh, I'm going to butcher this name. And forgive me. And hello, Spock. Hello, nerd. How you guys doing? Good to see you. Oh, it's good to see my buddies from Tuesday Night Trek. And actually, they're my buddies. Plain and simple. Okay. I'm going to try to pronounce her last name, and I'm more than likely going to butcher it, guys. So if someone wants to clip it, go right ahead. Courtney Hen. Okay, I'm going to stop. Zolo, he's coming back. Miguel Diaz. Okay, I'm just going to read the characters. Instead of butchering the last name. So Daniel LaRusso will be back. Johnny Lawrence will be back. Amanda LaRusso will be back. Miguel Diaz will be back. Robbie King will be back. Samantha LaRusso will be back. Hawk will be back. Dimitri will be back. John Kreese will be back. Terry Silver. Kenny will be back. Bert will be back. Mitch will be back. Cameron will be back. Tori will be back. Chris will be back. Kyler will be back. Moon will be back. As for other returning characters, it's safe to assume that Chosen, Daniel's primary rival in The Karate Kid Part 2, will play a significant role next season, given his surprising cameo in the Season 4 finale, which Nerdporial and I actually speculated in our live stream that we had about Season 4. You can catch it here on the channel to hear our thoughts on that. And let's see what you guys are saying. Spock is saying, hell, Mike, stopping by to drop a like, live long and prosper. All right. I will see you guys over on the Star Wars Guys channel at 9 o'clock as we discuss the Orville Season 1. Let's see. Nerd says, hi, Mike, a salty body of fluid. Okay, it says, I spy a splendid computer at Spock's Friday nights. Nerd also says, Spock's Friday nights. Your father is a computer and your mother's an encyclopedia. And Spock goes on to say, incorrect, my father was a Vulcan and my mother was a human. And Nerd goes on to say, he's a traitor from a race of traitors. Okay, so yes, again, catch the live stream that Nerdporial Lifeform and I did here on the channel discussing Season 4, and you'll get our thoughts. And anyways, it goes on to say that, Chosen made a cameo at the end of Season 4, just like how Silver shook things up for Cobra Kai and joined forces with Kreese. Perhaps Chosen will be able to help Daniel restore Miyagi-Do to its former glory. After all, Daniel and Johnny could use some help right about now. But what about other Karate Kid characters like Allie Mills, Elizabeth Shue, who's popped up in Season 3 after Johnny sent her a friend request on Facebook? It's unclear at this point if she will come back to Cobra Kai, but given Chosen's return, nothing should be ruled out. What's going to happen to Silver and Kreese? Goes on to say, in the Season 4 finale, we see Silver brutally beat up Stingray, Paul Walter Hauser, and frame Kreese for the crime. While it remains to be seen if Kreese gets put in prison for something he didn't do, Cobra Kai co-creator Hayden Schwarzenberg told comicbook.com that fans can expect the Karate Kid rivalries to be even more intense next season, with Silver looking to open multiple dojos across the valley. The possibilities are now endless. Obviously, things could get really heightened because, that Chosen is the type of guy who, at least in Karate Kid 2, was willing to fight to the death, he explained. And we know that Terry Silver is willing to go crazy lengths to stay in power, especially after what he did to Stingray in Season 4. So it has the makings for a big action-packed season. What's more, it'll be interesting to see if Silver gets in trouble for paying off the ref during the All Valley tournament, especially since Tori caught him in the act in the Season 4 finale. But again, as Nerdporial and I said, who's going to believe her? Goes on to say, are there any other Cobra Kai Season 5 spoilers? It goes on to say most of the actors are staying quiet about Season 5, but Jacob Bertrand, who plays Hawk, did tell Entertainment Weekly that in addition to more fighting, we'll see a lot of the unlikely team-ups in the Valley. Maybe Kreese will reconcile with Johnny. We also know that things are bound to get intense between Johnny and Daniel as Miguel slowly becomes closer with the Miyagi-Do sensei. Yeah, Miguel left to go find his father at the end of season 4. So we will have to wait and see how that plays out. Even though the two of them have buried the hatchet in a sense and they're working together, it's only natural, John explained on TV Line, when Daniel starts making a connection with Miguel, who is one of the most important relationships in Johnny's life and is a surrogate son of sorts. Johnny starts feeling like the lifetime rival of his is potentially a new, better role model for that Miguel is turning to instead of him. And let me make sure that I post this in the chat. So if you guys want to read it, you can. If you don't want to read it, that's fine too. Goes on to say, showrunner Josh Heald later added, there are quite a bit of storylines that start spinning very fast and very aggressively as we enter next season. How can I watch and stream Cobra Kai season 5? Netflix. And, it even goes on to say that it'll only be available on Netflix. And of course, Netflix has raised their prices since then. But yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens in season 5 of Cobra Kai. But honestly, anything's possible. Anything is possible. Characters that people have speculated on returning could return. And it'd be nice to see them come back, to be honest. All right. I'm going to go ahead and read possibly one, maybe two more articles and then wrap this up at 8:30. So let me go ahead and find the article I wanted to talk about. There it is. And I will go ahead and post it in the chat. And nerd, if you're still here, this is the article I was telling you about last night. Now, I have not read it. I wanted to save it for tonight, but we can all read at the same time. All right, so this article is from Bounding in the Comics. It says, new Scream movie takes a stab at toxic fandoms. Killer claims they were radicalized by angry movie fans. This was by Spencer Macaulay. It was posted yesterday, and it does contain a spoiler warning for anybody who is interested in seeing this next installment in the Scream franchise. Spoiler warning, the following article contains significant spoilers for Scream 2022. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did, Brian. I did see it. Okay, I'm going to put it to a vote. Do you guys want me to play it? Or do you just want me to talk about it? Because I can talk about it real quick before I go into this Scream article. I have no problem talking about it from what I've seen. And yes, I did watch the whole thing. Okay, while I wait for you guys to respond, I'll go ahead and continue with this article. And it says, with the release of its latest entry, the Scream franchise has become the latest to attempt meta commentary on divided pop culture opinions, this time resulting in yet another stab at entertainment fans who are critical of the direction their favorite franchises have taken. And it goes on to say, picking up 10 years after the events of Scream 4. Scream 2022 serves as a soft reboot or requel. Basically, it's a soft reboot and everything, as the concept is referred to by the film's cast of the series, centered on yet another group of Woodsboro teenagers who have suddenly found themselves the targets of a new string of Ghostface attacks. Goes on to say, in addition to a sense of friendship and residents in the same town, the group members are also all massive fans of the Stab series, the series' fictional film within a film based on the events of the Ghostface killings. And it goes on to say this fanaticism is particularly driven home at the onset of the movie when one of the group's members, Mindy Meeks Martin, Jasmine Savoy Brown, references Star Wars The Last Jedi. Director Ryan Johnson ranted about how the Knives Out guy produced a widely panned eighth sequel to and for soft reboot of the Stab franchise that ruined everything fans had come to love about it. As the film progresses and more of the teenagers begin to fall victim to the new Ghostface, it is eventually revealed that the murders were perpetrated by fellow friends, group members Amber Freeman, Mikey Madison, Richie Karish, Jack Quaid, out of their love for the Stab series. At one point in the film, Richie is even shown to be watching Stab criticism videos on YouTube. According to the pair, after seeing the dismal state it had taken in the years, they decided to kill their friends in the hopes of providing the Stab franchise with new and quality source material from which to adapt and produce better entries in the years to follow. Their depicted obsession with the Stab franchise goes so deep that they even planned on pinning the murders on Sam Carpenter, the film's protagonist, and the secret daughter of original Ghostface murderer Billy Loomis, in order to give the new material a poetic parallel to the original killings. And it goes on to say, eventually, as the tables start to turn on the pair, they begin to lose control of the situation. Amber attempts to reason with her would-be victims turn justified attackers, Sidney Prescott and Gail Riley, by claiming it's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's the message boards. I was radicalized. By movie fans, ask Gail, to which Amber replies, yes, they're so mad. Please, it's not my fault. I'm just a dumb kid. I just wanted to be part of something. Likewise, as Richie feels to begin the pressure of losing control, he lashes out as he attacks, screaming, stop effing up my life, my ending. YouTuber Orange Hat Reviews it in his review of the film stated, I just went to the theater and I got insulted, as has a lot of my friends who are passionate film and movie lovers of franchises. Every one of us has been attacked by a freaking movie. He would later add, this fan was a big FU to any person who was a passionate fan of franchises who have complained after certain groups got a hold of these franchises and molested them in their modernization and wokeness. This movie does basically say, all toxic fans, you are the problem. All the ones who are complaining about movies being ruined or franchises being ruined because of later iterations and trying to tell the stories today, you are the problem, he elaborated. Goes on to say, the YouTuber then reiterated the two killers' motive. the two killers literally tell Sydney and Gail in the climax, all these toxic fans, well, we're going to stand up and we're going to show them how it's done. He continued, essentially, this is how Hollywood views us, as violent serial killers, as psychopaths. This movie views us as psychopaths, folks. A person who loved the original Star Wars and couldn't accept Disney Star Wars because it's a blatant disrespect to the original lore, to the lore that was established by the original movies, to people who are fans of the Infinity Saga, all the way up until Endgame, but who are not paying attention to the other movies afterwards. They're basically saying that all of us who have been calling out Hollywood for their use of identity politics and their complete disassociation from reality when it comes to franchises and how they're done, this movie was basically saying F you to people like us, our chat reviews added. What do you make of Scream 5's commentary? All right. What do you guys make of the commentary? I'll tell you what I say. Well, you keep putting down your fans, people aren't going to go see your movie. This movie is going to flop. Nobody asked for another Scream movie. Nobody wanted another Scream movie. I've only seen the first two, and I'll leave it at that. But yeah, it's just another example of Hollywood attacking its fan base and attacking people who, spend their hard-earned money to go watch the movie, go watch TV shows, thinking they're better than everybody else. They're not. We are the customer. We are the ones who will say, okay, your show's a hit, your movie's a hit, or say, nope, we don't want it. We don't want it at all. But yeah, it's just another example of woke Hollywood. So, real quick, I know I said I was going to end it at 8:30, but let's go ahead and take a look at the Lord of the Rings teaser. It's only a minute long, so I will be pausing it here and there just to avoid a copyright claim from Amazon. Okay. Give me a second. Let's see if I can pull up the right one. Okay. Here we go. All right. So, is everybody ready? I hope you are. I really do hope you are. Because I've already seen it. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it after I play the trailer. All right, so let me select the right tab. And yes, I am going to play the audio, but again, I'm going to be pausing it here and there. So here we go.
Seven for the Dwarf Lords, in their halls of stone. 9 for mortal men, doomed to die. 1 for the Dark Lord, on his dark throne, in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie.
There's my response. Boring. Absolutely boring. That's supposed to entice me to want to watch your Amazon series? Really? That is supposed to make me want to go, yeah, I'm looking forward to that series. I'm looking forward to paying Amazon to watch that series. No. Just no. The movie trailers were a hell of a lot better. Just my opinion. But the movie trailers were a hell of a lot better than that. Gosh. What are they spending? 400 and some odd million on this? And that's the best they can give us for a trailer? That's the best you can give us, Amazon? Jeez. I saw a comment when I watched it earlier where somebody said it looks like a screensaver that would have come on, 15, 20 years ago on your computer. That's what they compared it to. You don't want your teaser compared to a screensaver from 15, 20 years ago. You just don't. Wow. Just wow. And they're already making changes. They're already making changes to the original source material. So why is anybody going to have any incentive to watch? They're not. I'd rather watch the 3 Lord of the Rings movies and the 3 Hobbit movies. I'd rather read the books. To be honest, I'd rather read the books. That's just my opinion. What's yours? And what do you think about the articles that I touched up upon in this edition of Pop Talk? Let me know. If you liked what you saw here, don't forget to leave a like. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Leave a comment in the comment section during the stream while you still can. If you're watching this on the replay, leave it in the comment section down below. And if you would like, because I will be over there in just a few minutes, I will be over on the Star Wars Guys YouTube channel, and we will be talking about the Orville Season 1. So let me post a link to the channel, and you can catch me over there. So let me go ahead. Oops. Tell you. Okay. So here's the link to tonight's stream starting in less than 25 minutes over on the Star Wars Guys YouTube channel. So join us over there. Again, thank you all for coming by during the live stream. I really appreciate it. I want to go ahead and thank Punk Waddle for stopping by. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you for being a great mod. And I want to thank DJ Ronnie G. Thank you. Really appreciate it. I also want to thank Games, Movies, and Comics R Us, GMC. Thank you very much, brother. Really appreciate it. And I also want to thank Spock from Spock's Friday Nights. Thank you very much, brother. Good to see you. And the same with the Nerdporial Lifeform. Thank you very much, Brian. Really appreciate it, brother. And I will see you guys shortly over on the Star Wars Guys YouTube channel. And again, thank you all for watching. Take care of yourselves and have a good night.